Mr. Clerk, we are reporting out a closed session. 2 items. First item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The motion for the first item of council reporting out of closed session is to receive the report and that confidential direction to staff be confirmed.
Someone like to move that? Councillor Kemp, second by Councillor Thompson. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, record a vote.
Recorded vote has been requested for the first item of council reporting out of closed session. Mayor Maracas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councillor Weiss is absent. Councillor Kim? Councillor Kim votes yes. Councillor Thompson? Councillor Thompson votes yes. Councillor Gartner? Councillor Gartner votes yes. Councillor Gallo? Councillor Gallo votes yes. Councillor Gilliland is absent. The motion carries.
Thank you. Second item.
Second item of council reporting out of closed session is to receive the report and that confidential direction to staff be confirmed.
Someone like to move this one? Councillor Kim, seconder. Councillor Gardner, comments, questions? Seeing none, record a vote.
Recorded vote has been requested for the second item of council reporting out of closed session. Councillor Kim, how do you vote? Councillor Kim votes yes. Councillor Gilliland is absent. Councillor Gallo? Councillor Gallo votes yes. Councillor Weiss is absent. Councillor Gartner? Councillor Gartner votes yes. Councillor Thompson? Councillor Thompson votes yes. And Mayor Maracas?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Confirmed by law. Councillor Gallo, seconder. Councillor Kim, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Kim, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Mr. Clerk, time is 7:01. I'm going to call this council meeting to order. The town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas, recognized through Treaty Number 13, as well as the Williams Treaties of 1923. Shared understanding of the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. Councillor, a motion to approve the agenda. Councillor Kim, Councillor Gallo, I need 2/3 as we have some additions. So I'll call the vote. Councillor Gardner, you just wanted to tell me? Yes. Councillor Gardner is a yes. Councillor Gallo, yours didn't go through. Yes. Councillor Gallo's a yes as well. Oh, Councillor Kim, yours didn't go through either. Your yes. Councillor Kim's a yes. That carries. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Community presentations. First one is 5.2, which is the female students of the town's leadership course regarding PLF 4M success from winter 2024 term. Minutes, Clerk. 5. Welcome. You have 5 minutes. Floor is yours.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Mayor and members of council. My name is Sylvia. This is Emma, Simona, Angelina, and Bria. We've come to talk about the Recreation and Healthy Active Living Leadership course being offered by the town that goes towards a grade 12 Ontario High School credit. This 15-week program has provided us and 11 other female identifying students a safe space to learn and grow as people as well as leaders. I'd like to take a moment to introduce them to you all. I thoroughly enjoyed making new friends and hosting events centered around healthy active living, mindfulness, LGBTQS+ inclusion, and true sport principles.
Hi there. My name is Emma, and I know that myself, as well as many other students in this course, have often struggled with confidence in the past. Throughout the Healthy Active Living leadership course, we've all been able to truly build this quality. Haley has helped us all to build our confidence through practice with public speaking, power poses, as well as giving us all a safe space to fail. On the very first day of class, Haley told us that this would be not only a safe space, but also a brave space, an environment for us all to be ourselves and have open conversation without feeling judged or embarrassed, as well as to do things that many of us may not have been comfortable with previously. This course has pushed us all to become leaders and to exit our comfort zones in the most positive way.
Hi, I'm Simona. Opportunity. This is the word that sums up the unlimited possibilities this course had to offer. You were given the chance to participate in many workshops, from empowering women leaders, how to coach a team, and we were even given the opportunity to be certified in first aid and CPR. All these certifications were possible because of this active course, and will set all these young women up for future success. The one thing I stayed in my mind throughout all these amazing experiences was that all these leaders were strong, influencing, determined. It left a mark on me that my few female peers and I are the next generation of women leaders.
Along with being, hello, I'm Angelina. Along with being provided with many opportunities, we also learned how to network and build connections with people we may work with in the future, which is crucial for success, as you may know. Additionally, all the opportunities we were provided with allow us to have an expansive resume, and this gives us an advantage when job seeking. In this course, we're encouraged to make a resume as soon as possible, which proves to be really helpful for our future and even our present. Furthermore, women used to have little to no options for work back then, as everything was considered a man's job. But little things like this course help us in so many ways, not to mention the fact that it was free, and it proves that women are capable of anything and everything.
Hello, I'm Bria. Preparing for this, we asked our peers to give us 3 words to describe this course. Some of the top words they used were fun, engaging, inclusive, supportive, and a safe space. Not only did this course help us improve in many skills and help set us up for success, but we are all now confident enough to say that we identify as female leaders. On behalf of my peers, we would like to thank all the sponsors for helping to make this course possible, and we would also like to thank you all for this opportunity.
Thank you. Council, can I get a motion to receive presentation? Councillor Thompson, seconder, Councillor Gilland. Any questions for the presentation? Seeing, Councillor Gardner, go ahead. No, it's Councillor Gardner first. You didn't see it?
Okay.
Either or.
It's okay.
It did come up. Councillor Gilland, go ahead. Your mic's on. Go ahead. Oh, wait, now it's switched. Councillor Gardner, you go ahead.
Welcome to the Aurora Council Chambers. How long did this course last?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. We started this course in February and today is our last day, ending in May.
Councillor?
It is very important things that you've learned. And I'm very glad you came here to tell us about it. And good luck in the future, all of you.
Thank you.
Councillor Gilland?
Thank you. I just want to say congratulations again to all of you. This is absolutely fantastic. Woman in leadership is very near and dear to my heart as a fellow ally to you as well. What is your biggest takeaway from this course, other than obviously you had your engaging words, but what was your biggest takeaway from this course that really helped you develop that confidence?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I would say the biggest takeaway was all of the opportunities we had. For example, all the certifications, and we also got the chance to plan our own event, which gave us the confidence to practice like planning and then actually running the event ourselves.
Counselor?
Thank you through Mr. Mayor. And if you were to recommend this course to maybe some other young females that might be interested in taking this, what would you say to them?
I would say that it's overall just a great experience and gives you so much, like everyone has said, confidence for your future. And it looks great on resumes. And you also just get to meet so many new people and you just expand your community.
Counselor?
That's great. Thanks so much, everybody. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Ladies, thank you very much. Yep. Thank you very much for coming. I will say as well, it truly is amazing to have an opportunity like this for all of you and for women in our community to be able to build confidence and leadership skills. I think that I speak for all of us when I say that we wish all of you a lot of success in your future endeavors. And we know that you're going to make Aurora proud in whatever that you choose to do, because we all know that Aurorans are the greatest. And we know that you're going to do us proud. So thank you and congratulations. Okay, yeah. Council, we'll all go take a picture with. Yeah. So just quickly before everyone leaves, I just did want to say, Haley, thank you for all the work that you've done as well, and our staff. Tremendous work. So thank you very much. Okay. All right. Call the vote. I never called the vote. Call the vote. Don't hit the wrong button. Councilor Gillan? Yeah, Councilor Gillan's yes. Councilor Kim's a yes. That carries. Next, we have Franco DeMarco, Recreation Supervisor, Community Programs regarding June is Recreation and Parks Month. Franco, welcome. Floor is yours.
Great. Good evening, Mayor Maracus and members of council. My name is Franco DeMarco. I'm the Recreation Supervisor for Community Programs with the Town of Aurora. I'm here tonight to speak with you about June is Recreation and Parks Month, or JRPM. JRPM is a movement that promotes the benefits of recreation and parks for physical, social, and environmental health. Communities across Ontario have embraced JRPM as a way to promote local programs and events, parks, and facilities that are available for all citizens to enjoy. This year's JRPM theme is Community Thrives Here. This theme is meant to communicate that recreation and parks bring communities together. Visiting parks and participating in recreational pursuits help Ontarians enhance their quality of life through connecting them with community and encouraging active lifestyles. The town's 4 objectives for this JRPM campaign include celebrating local parks and recreation program opportunities, increasing education and awareness of the benefits and value of recreation and parks to both individuals and communities, increasing community engagement and social interaction, and promoting healthy and active lifestyles. According to Parks and Recreation Ontario and the Canadian Parks and Recreation Association, participation in both structured and unstructured recreation, sport, and cultural activities improves physical, psychological, and emotional health. Most Canadians consider parks and recreation to be essential services. Recreation programs, services, and access to parks and green spaces also have an economic impact as they reduce healthcare and social service costs. So how can the Aurora community get active and participate in JRPM this year? We have 3 components to our campaign that align with the objectives and outcomes that I just previously mentioned. First, the town is offering free recreation drop-in activities and special events throughout the month of June. Our full schedule can be found online. In particular, this evening, I'd like to spotlight 2 new opportunities that are included in our JRPM lineup, new this year, which align with our sport plan. The town was successful in securing funding through the Participation Community Challenge grant to offer a Lead Her Play Day on June 7th and a Pride Luau celebration on June 26th. As part of the 24 Participation Community Challenge, grant opportunities were available to support municipalities and community organizations to remove barriers and increase physical activity and sport participation and retention for equity-denied groups. Our Lead Her Play Day on June 7th is for female identifying participants between the ages of 8 to 13. This program will be delivered in partnership with See What She Can Do, as well as the Center for Immigrant and Community Services, as we prioritize engaging with newcomers. More information on our Lead Her Play Day can be found on our JRPM webpage or at aurora.ca/gender equity. Our Pride Luau celebration on June 26th is a town event offered in collaboration with You Can Play and York Pride, as June is also Pride Month. We invite individuals and families to join us for an evening of celebration and activities, unity, and support for LGBTQ2S+ community initiatives. The event aims to foster inclusivity, promote diversity, and enhance opportunities for healthy active living. More information on our luau can be found on our JRPM webpage, as well as aurora.ca/sport workshops. Our second component is our JRPM calendar, and third way is by engaging with us on social media. So as I mentioned, a full listing of everything the town's offering through JRPM can be found on our website, which is on your screen there, aurora.ca/JRPM. We've also included a link to our Parks and Trails webpage on our JRPM page, so residents can find out more information and search for various parks and trails using the town's interactive map online. Our JRPM calendar, which you can see there, also includes a variety of activities and ideas on ways that you and your family can stay active this month. Each day has something different for you to enjoy. And lastly, we'd love to see how the community is celebrating JRPM. We're asking residents to post photos on social media using our hashtag AuroraJRPM24. We'd like to thank Mayor Maracus for declaring June as Recreation and Parks Month in the town of Aurora. The formal proclamation can be found on the town's website. Thank you to Mayor and Council for your time this evening. We hope to see the community out in June celebrating recreation and parks with us. I'd now like to conclude, I know I'm tight for time, with a presentation on a short video that our friends in communications created for us. This video will be shown on town social platforms throughout the month to promote our JRPM activities.
Hey there, did you know that June is Rec and Parks Month? The town of Aurora has lots of opportunities for you and your family to get out and get active. We'll see you there.
Thank you, Franco. Councilor, first, can I get a motion to receive the presentation? Councilor Gardner, Councilor Gilliland, any questions for the presentation? Councilor Gardner?
Thank you for coming. I think I just saw you last night somewhere. So we hold this every year.
Franco?
And
Yes.
how has the participation been?
Franco?
Yep, through you, Mr. Mayor, pretty solid. So first and foremost, JRPM, it's a public awareness campaign. So it's hard to fully measure engagement with the campaign because you could just be going for a walk or riding your bike on your own. But through the town activities and drop-in activities, we've seen an increase over the last few years. So all of the drop-ins that are currently listed and on our schedule online, most of which are current drop-ins that we operate. A few are designed specifically for JRPM. For example, we have a Play in the Park series that we've added just for JRPM that's free outdoor workshops, more family-based, but overall really successful.
Councilor?
Thank you. And I'm assuming you send this out on all of our media sites, including in the newspaper?
Franco?
Yep, through you, Mr. Mayor, that's correct. We have various listservs that we've e-blasted this out. We have a recreation one. We've notified all of our local sport organizations, the senior center, for example, an e-blast there. There's posters, and then through our communications team, all our typical channels. So notice board, newspaper, our pylon signs.
Thank you. I did see in the newspaper that Sport Aurora is planning something. I think you could try 9 different sports. Anyway, I'm sure Councillor Weiss will talk about that next week. Anyway, I think it's a great idea. And of course, what you said, it adds to your emotional, your physical, your mental well-being. It's the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Gilliland?
Thank you. Thanks again for bringing us all their attention. Of course, we want to promote active, healthy life in living and exercise, and I really appreciate that. This is just kind of really menial, but I say it all the time, and I just really want to say Parks and Rec. I really want to say that. So if there's ever an appetite to change it, I think it's a little more catchy. Other than that, thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none. Franco, thank you very much. June is a busy month, as we all know, with many activities. And I think not only myself and council, but I think all our residents are looking forward to all the activities and events that are planned during the month of June through Parks and Rec month. So looking forward to it. I just had one question. How many takes did it take to shoot that basket in the ball? Like
one take, actually.
That was the one take?
Yeah.
Oh, very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Well, next, maybe we'll get Andrew to come in too. Nemhard, he can come and take a shot. And
Sounds good. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I appreciate it. I think that we're all looking forward to it. And thank you very much for the presentation and all the work that you and the rest of staff do in regards to this month. So thank you. Council, I'll call the vote. Councilor Kim? You're yes. Councilor Kim's a yes. Councilor Gardner? Councilor Gardner's a yes. Thank you. That carries. Delegations. First, 6.1, Caitlyn Harris, resident, regarding item 8.8.2. Caitlyn? Welcome. Just let you know you have 5 minutes, and if you just state your name, and the floor is yours.
Good evening. I'm Caitlyn Harris. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I stand before you to advocate for the addition of a stop sign at the connection of Albury and Tamarac, an issue that concerns the safety of my family, my neighbors, and myself. This request stems from a long-standing concern that has been raised multiple times over several decades, yet still remains. Tamarac Trail has a significant curve near the bottom close to Henderson that greatly reduces visibility. This lack of a proper line of sight is a constant danger, especially for my children who must cross the road to reach the sidewalk where they catch the bus or walk to the park. As a parent, I find it necessary to stand in the middle of the road to ensure the safety, preventing any potential accidents from vehicles coming around the corner. Additionally, Tamarac is frequently used as a bypass by the residents of McClellan Way to reach Yonge Street, resulting in heavy traffic and rampant speeding. This daily reality puts everyone at risk, making it nearly impossible for my children to enjoy the same carefree outdoor experience I had growing up in this very town. Both my husband and I have lived in Aurora our whole lives and have a deep love for this town. However, the current situation has led to multiple close calls for me personally. I've been nearly hit 3 times on foot, as well as countless times by car. Every time I try to enter or leave my driveway, I do so with a sense of risk and trepidation. We're not asking for much, just an added stop sign on Tamarac that has no stop signs currently. This simple addition would slow down traffic and significantly improve the safety for all the residents. It would provide peace of mind for the parents like me who want their children to grow up in a safe environment. I plead with you to approve this request. Let's prioritize the safety of our community and allow us to regain the peace of mind that has been lost. I now would like to give you to my daughter, Mika.
Hi, my name is Mika Harris and I live on Tamarac Trail. I would like to give you a kid's perspective on why stop signs are necessary for my street. Number 1, safety. Shouldn't I not be scared of crossing the street? Number 2, speeding. A stop sign would really help to slow people down. So I really think stop signs will help keep our community safe. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Councilor, again, a motion to receive and refer. Councilor Gardner. Thank you. Seconder. Councilor Kim. Any questions for the delegate? Councilor Gardner.
Thank you for coming this evening. So in the best of all possible worlds, what would you think would increase the safety?
Kayla.
We have kind of a interesting curve of the bottom of the street. And I think at Albury and Tamarac, if there was a 3-way stop sign, right now there's just a stop sign from Albury. If that was a 3-way stop, so everyone had to stop at that section, that's actually where the bus is as well,
Wow.
would provide a safer crossing passage. Myself, as well as the neighbors, we all stand in the middle of the street to kind of like slow people down or give them a bit of a warning that someone's going to cross. So whenever we leave our house, we're kind of right at that curve. I stand in the middle of the street and tell them to run. So that's the only way. And we can't, if we go on our bikes, we have to walk our bikes across, but I stand in the middle of the street to make sure they can get across so we can go for a bike ride or go to the park.
Councilor.
That sounds very scary. I'm sorry you have to do that. Thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Councilor Gilliland.
Thank you. I'm familiar with Tamarac and I understand, the traffic, and I obviously respect the reports that council has been given from staff. And I'm just curious, I've seen a couple comments online and other places of as far as just stop signs, but considering traffic calming measures, which could be speed strips or speed humps or something to help slow traffic down. Is that something within the community that you would support? Because I have seen a little bit of that online and some comments based on that.
Calming measures would be appreciated. I'm not really sure. I think because they did some work on Henderson, people started using Tamarac as a bypass to get around the work, and then it never ended. And because there's kind of that curve, people kind of start going and revving up and go as fast as they can, and they can get to Henderson because there's no stop sign, or sorry, McClellan.
So any kind of measure would be appreciated. I think a stop sign would be the best way because then it makes people have to stop, because there still are some people who can go through those things pretty easily. And I know that in winter, when you have the speed bumps, it becomes a problem for the cleaning measures as well. So a stop sign seems to be the least impactful for the community in a sense of more things having to be done.
Counselor?
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm going to weigh all options. I know within these reports, low IRP doesn't necessarily support that as the first line of defense because it gives a false sense of security that cars will stop from rolling stops, and especially young children tend to think that they know that if it's stopped, the car is not going to roll through. So I'm just trying to weigh the balance of that information given from staff, YRP, just knowing that, and traffic calming, because I want to see the traffic slowing down as well. So I'm grateful that you have come here to, give me your perspective, because I really do appreciate that. But I also want to look on the perspective for the greatest sense of safety and optics for everybody. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. And so I'm glad to hear that you're open to other forms of traffic safety calming, as so long as we can help slow that traffic down. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, thank you very much for coming out this evening. I really appreciate it. Council, I'll call the vote. Councillor Kim? He's a yes. That carries. Next, we have Ann Harrison, resident, regarding 8.8.2. Ms. Harrison, welcome. You have 5 minutes. If I can just get you to state your name, and the floor is yours. Don't worry, I won't start until you start speaking. So, yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Ann Harrison, and I'm also a resident on Tamarac Trail. I come to you today with a very extreme concern for the safety of the residents on Tamarac Trail. I have lived there for upwards of 18 years now. My kids were 6 months and 3 years old when we moved in. Very shortly after I moved in, I was told by my neighbor directly next door to me to be careful of the street. That's 18 years ago. My kids did not enjoy the outside of front of our yard either, for exactly the same reasons as already been mentioned. I have witnessed cars speeding so fast that I've had to jump out of the way. If I'm parked on the street, I've had to jump out of the way of a car coming by. I've also seen cars slide in the winter into my neighbor's lawn right directly across from me, beside my neighbor that was just talking as well. I am very concerned, and I do also plead with you to find some sort of way to put some safety measures in on this street. I also noticed that since there has been a stoplight installed at Henderson and Tamarac Trail, which is wonderful because it allows the pedestrians to cross Henderson safely now, it also causes a little bit of a backup. So what cars are doing now is they are turning up Tamarac Trail, speeding to get to McClellan that way. So not only are they using it as a bypass to avoid construction, they're now also using it as a bypass to avoid that stoplight when it's red. So I just really hope that you will take everything that's been said here tonight into consideration. As as a wife and a mom and a resident, I am truly scared to live on that street right now, the way the speeding is going on. Also, I've seen altercations happen where residents have come out of their homes or they are on the street and they have said to speeding drivers, slow down, please. Cars have stopped and there's almost been physical altercations happen. So it's in the past been a problem. It is a problem and it's just getting worse. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, can I get a motion to receive and refer? Councillor Gardner, seconder. Councillor Thompson, any comments or questions? Seeing none. Ms. Harrison, thank you very much for coming out this evening. Appreciate it. Call the vote. Councillor Gardner? I'm assuming yes. Councillor Gardner's yes. Councillor Kim's a yes. That carries. Next, we have Joyce Mikros, resident regarding item 8.8.2. Joyce, welcome. Can I just get you to state your name and you have 5 minutes.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor and Council, for this opportunity. My name is Joyce Mikros. I've been a resident of Aurora my whole life, and I've lived on Tamarac for 30 years. I have 4 kids there, and it is a nightmare to live there. I'm to echo what you've already heard. I won't repeat, but I just really want to highlight that elbow in the road that you're hearing about. It literally is a blind spot. We mentioned it last time I was here when we were discussing this. When you are crossing the road, when you turn from Henderson, I guess when the subdivision was built in 1980, they didn't take this into account, but you cannot see any car turning from Henderson in. And when they turn to accelerate, because there's no stop sign, there is nothing in the way to slow cars down. That's when kids have been hit. I've been hit. My kids almost hit. Thank God they weren't, but it's a nightmare. It's a blind spot, that elbow. I live at the elbow, and many cars, I've actually built a fence on the corner with a little flag I put there just so that because cars in the past, they're speeding so fast and they come up right on top of my lawn and taking out the lawn, and it's been a disaster. So it's not safe. It's too fast. People are driving too fast. We have a new generation of drivers that really, they're not really considerate. They don't take into account, safety and children. It's a different time, but we do need to put in really strong measures. I don't think the slow down measures are enough. I think we need to put hard stops, and I think we need maybe 2 of them on that street. The altercations that Annie was talking about are getting worse, like cars getting egged, coming out fighting. I don't even want to talk about one of the times it was really ugly. So, and I'm happy to host police officers there to see anybody with rolling stops, to give them a ticket. I'll feed them lunch and take care of them while they're on my property. But I would like to see that. And the 2 little girls have now joined our neighborhood. And as we're aging out and the younger families are coming, it would be nice for them to have that opportunity to cross the road and go to Tamarac Park, because you've spent so much money in beautifying that in that park. It's gorgeous. And it's a shame when you're scared to death to cross, or your bike, or even shovel the driveway at the end with your kids, because cars slide all the time in that bend of in that road. Anyway, I think you've already heard everything else. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to address it as well. We've been trying for 30 years, so hopefully this will be it. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, get a motion to receive and refer. Councillor Gilliland, seconder. Councillor Thompson. Councillor Gilliland, go ahead.
Thank you. I had a couple questions. You said in your delegation that you've been hit, your kids have been hit, and I just don't, I was not aware of anybody being physically hit by a car. So this is like new information for me, because I don't see anywhere in the report of any reported incidents. So if you could just expand on that. It's to me, that's kind of concerning when you say that, because that's not what was brought to my attention in any of these reports to that degree.
Sure.
Joyce?
Through you, Mayor. The bus stop is right across the street, and I'm walking my youngest son to catch the school bus, which he attended Light of Christ. And the car just didn't pay attention to the red stop signs of the bus and just came right through. I was walking, I turned at the nick of time with all my might. I smacked the hood of his car, and I've lived there 30 years. So we're all neighbors, we're all friends. He's like, "Oh my God, Joyce, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Are you crazy? Like, you literally hit me. Like, I don't understand." But he didn't come to me to request to repair his hood of his car. It was very scary. They have been hit. Bikes, our cars, Annie's car got backed into from parking in front of our house because the cars are just flying through there. Like kids on a bike have been hit. I've had pictures of the car I was telling you because I live on the bend that came up on the road and he smashed into my yard. We have pictures of all that, but I mean, no one's pressing charges, 20 years ago when my kids were small. So anyway, yeah, it's happened. It's not safe. It's awful. It's a blind spot. I welcome any of you to come by. I'm at 21 and you just cross. You cannot see Henderson. It is a massive blind spot. And as soon as you turn onto Tamarac, they take flight. I mean, we've been sleeping in the middle of the night and cars are traveling down that road 140, 120. It's the Grand Prix. So it is very dangerous, Counselor. Yeah, it's
Counselor?
bad.
Thank you. No, I appreciate the context.
Yeah. Thank you.
I encourage any residents that do encourage and have this kind of experience to make those reports to the police, because we rely heavily on that data when it does come to council to give us that type of information to meet those warrants. And it's so important to hear those stories. Obviously,
You should. You're right.
somebody getting hit is not good, even if it's a backed up cart or something. It just adds to the warrant. I've never been a big fan of a solution of just plopping in a stop sign somewhere, because it is really tough to take out if it's something that doesn't work. More a fan of traffic calming, speed humps and so forth to slow traffic down. I think the difference here, what you're trying to explain, and I am really listening to what you guys are saying, is the sightline issue. And I understand maybe because of there's sightline issues and you have the curve, you're not necessarily meeting the speeds to that level within the report because of that. But because of the sight line, it really does invite the opportunity for somebody to get hit, to your point. So I'm taking all that in consideration. So I think it's good that you are here today, and we'll end up having a discussion with staff to kind of discuss maybe what options are out there to help mitigate that and increase safety.
Councillor Gallo?
Thank you. Thank you, Joyce, for coming, and the other delegates. It's really unfair to bring your children here. It's hard to say no to such a cute little girl. I just wanted to be clear on where you were anticipating the stop sign would be. Is it at Millgate or further up at Albury?
Anticipating, through you, Mayor. I was anticipating the stop sign one to be at Tamarac and Albury, because that's where the bus stop is. And that's your first line of turning in from Henderson. So as soon as people turn, they can't accelerate because they know there's going to be a stop sign there. And then I would love to have a second one that's on Tamarac and Underhill, which is actually close to the park. And then the next stop sign obviously is at Tamarac and McClellan. They did build stop signs on McClellan, on every intersection, and it's slowed down and calmed the traffic there. But it takes 4 stop signs to get from Rachel Wood Court to get to Henderson, whereas you turn onto Tamarac and you could do 140 no problem, and has been done. So I would like to see it definitely at Tamarac and Albury, and one even close to Underhill and Tamarac.
Councillor?
Okay, I mean, we'll ask staff. I think that's the location that, or the one location where it was being looked at. I'm not convinced that having it there is gonna solve any problems at that bend further northeast. It's not that close that people would. I think you're still going to have issues in that area, even if a stop sign goes there. Maybe some other methods of dealing with that, but
I think when people get used to knowing that there's a stop sign there, when they turn from Henderson, they can't accelerate. And when they're flying down from McClellan and they know there's a stop sign there, they can't accelerate. That's what we want to stop, is the acceleration. It's torture sleeping with my kids are in the front of the house and you hear those cars flying. You're like, holy bonkers. Like it's unacceptable. Right. And it's a different generation of drivers. So the only thing that really resonates for them is the stop sign, because we have slow measuring in front of the schools, right? go take a look and see how many of those little plastic things are down because they don't follow the rules. But a stop sign seems to be a better. If there's a police officer and they come once in a while and they know, oh, watch out on Tamarac, you're going to get a ticket. They'll learn.
Counselor?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately we're trying to figure out to solve this problem, and all I'm suggesting is, and even many reports suggesting that stop signs don't mitigate the speed of traffic unless you're putting one every 50 meters.
Okay.
And we have one just up here that I could show you hasn't accomplished that. We're trying to figure out ways to solve this.
Right.
I'm not convinced a stop sign there is going to solve this, but once it comes up, we'll have that discussion and ask staff. And
Thank you.
thank you.
Counselor Gardner?
Thank you for coming. You mentioned something that we haven't considered. The area is rejuvenating as the older people move to smaller dwellings. But are there a lot of older people in the area? Because this could be potentially a safety issue for them as well, not just the children.
Joyce?
Residents.
I know,
It's
but
hard to
are-
reverse. It's hard to cross. It's hard. Yeah. We're the older part of town, right? So, yeah, I would say so on both fronts. I worry more about the children just because they're so young, but
Well, and all for me, and also the seniors who have mobility issues.
yeah. It's been, like I said, we moved there 30 years ago, and it's been an ongoing, constant battle, fighting, yelling, screaming, begging. We've had petitions signed throughout the last 3 decades with to no avail. So I'm really hoping this time something will be put in place just to stop it. That's enough.
Thank you.
Counselor?
Yeah, thank you.
Joyce, thank you very much for coming this evening. Okay. I'll call the vote. You're just going to say it right away? You assume that, okay. Counselor Garner's yes. Counselor Kemp? Yes. That carries. Thank you. So council will move to consent agenda. Could I get someone to move consent agenda? Counselor Gillen, thank you. Seconder, Counselor Thompson. Any comments or questions on the consent agenda? All vote. Counselor Gardner, should I just ask you? Here, yes. Counselor Gardner's a yes. Counselor Kim? Yes. That carries. So we're going to move to number 8, which is Committee of the Whole meeting report of May 7th. So this is for all of number 8. Did anyone want any items pulled from number 8? Any items? Yep. Well, hit your button and Counselor Gardner.
Mr. Mayor, could we please pull 8.8.2 and address it as the first item?
Thank you. Any other items? Counselor Gillan?
I just want a separate vote on 883, please.
Which one, sorry?
883.
883, okay. Any others? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve all remaining items minus 8.8.2, 8.8.3? Counselor Gardner, seconder, Counselor Kim. All the vote. Counselor Gardner? Yes. Counselor Gardner's a yes. Counselor Kim? Counselor Kim's a yes. That carries. 8.8.2. Counselor Gardner, you pulled this one. Did you want to move the recommendation or I'm assuming? Well, I mean, it's just a receipt for information. You can make an amendment at this. So I mean, you can. Well, I would move it to receive it. But anyway, okay, Councillor Gillen, you move to receive it. Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Thompson, go ahead. Thank you. Councillor Gardner, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have to say that residents have complained to me long before I was their ward councillor about Tamarac. There is not one stop sign actually on Tamarac. You can go from beginning to end, except for the major intersection, and not having to stop. It's curved. It's crazy. I really don't to me, I mean, it's a great subdivision, but it does have, McClellan has its speeding problems, Henderson has its speeding problems. But this street seems to come up constantly. And I know it doesn't meet the warrants, and I can't understand it. But it's not just these residents who've come forward. This has been, I've heard when I do door to door over the years, and I would really appreciate if council would listen to the residents and install at least one stop street. That Aubrey Crescent, the sight lines there are very dangerous, and it's true. We have a lot of residents with kids. It's not the only area where we have a lot of residents with kids. This is the one that I hear the most about, as I said, before I was a ward councillor. So I trust, we have a great traffic team, and I know that they do their very best. But I have to say that in this case, I think that we should go with the residents' reality and make this area safer for them.
Thank you. Councillor Gillen.
Thank you. This through Mr. Mayor to Mr. Ramuno. Often when we get these kind of requests, especially when it comes to stop signs, I think the biggest concern is the impression that a stop sign is going to give some sort of safety, in the sense that when you do stop, that you can cross safely, especially in a street like this. And my biggest concern is it gives that false sense of security that you can cross the road safely. And if there are cars that are speeding and going around the corner of the sight line, I'm just concerned that that might not necessarily solve the issue. And I was just hoping you can comment on that particular location that you chose going around the corner. Is that something that was considered within the warranting when we were looking at that?
Mr. Ramuno.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So as part of staff's review and analysis of the traffic calming measures, the speed bumps, they identified a number of locations, but with respect to the always stop, it was at the intersection of Tamarac and Albury. And as the residents mentioned, I mean, if there is going to be an always stop, that's probably the best location, because it is essentially midway between on Tamarac. So if council wants to direct staff to install an always stop, that would be the location in my opinion. But again, as stated in the report, it obviously the traffic calming and the always stops, the warrants. However, subject to council's direction, if it's going to be an always stop, that is the best location, Tamarac and Albury.
Councillor.
Thank you. And I just a quick comment. I just know I often have conversations with YRP, and then they really tend to favor more of the traffic calming. Looking at the report with different tables for your traffic calming versus your always stop, it seems to warrant closer to traffic calming if we were actually going to meet the criteria. In your opinion, based on what's before us, would you say that is the correct assertion?
Mr. Ramuno.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Again, so the traffic calming, the speed cushions, based on the warrants are based on the town policy. The always stops are based on the Ontario Traffic Manual. again, based on what we've heard and based on the delegations, I think the preference from the residents would be an always stop, and that may be, a starting point if council chooses to direct staff to implement an initial measure.
Counselor?
Thank you. I just want to know if the warrants, the criteria both tables, was it closer to meeting the criteria of the traffic calming versus always stop? Because what I'm seeing here, for instance, when the minimum threshold is 75 vehicles, and yet the highest per hour vehicle was 9. So it's a really wide imbalance as to what that minimum threshold is. And then the split 25 versus 6. And when I look at the traffic calming, it seems to be relatively close to that threshold, 13 kilometers an hour versus 15. And that could be attributed to the fact that we are going around a corner. So to me, it's very close to that warrant for that type of slowdown. I do like how staff has indicated 3 traffic calmings along the entire strip. So it does force slowing down for the entire road of Tamarac. I do like that idea. I'm just struggling with the stop sign there because I don't know if that's really going to solve the problem. And my worry is that false sense of security crossing the road, but yet the roll stops. It might as well be a speed hump at that point. And I respect we can put a police officer to ticket, but police officers will only have so many cruisers for the entire town of Aurora, and it would be kind of on an on-call basis every now and then, and not something to rely on. So I just, I really want to make sure that we're making the right decision here, and it could be a good first step with the traffic calming. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's actually a little more expensive, but at the same time, I feel like overall it could be a much safer option. And I'll wait to my colleagues and hear what they have to say. I'm interested in hearing what Councillor Gallo has to say from his committee work, because you guys definitely go through that traffic book a lot more than we do. So I'll leave it at that.
Councillor Gallo?
Thank you. I have no issues with putting a stop sign in place where it's recommended, but that alone I don't think is going to solve the issue. And it was discussed at the committee level, and in your report on page 414, the comments from the committee were to install the flexible signs, albeit in the winter they need to be removed, but you can install them, and I will probably leave it up to staff to determine whether there's 2 or 3 locations where those could be installed, and they're relatively inexpensive and they're very effective. If you've ever been around any schools around town, you know how effective they are. And the second one is to implement the urban shoulder, the white lines painted and kind of reducing the lanes. I would highly recommend starting with those 3 things, the stop sign and those 2 other ways of mitigating the speed of traffic as a start. And they're inexpensive. I'm sure staff could do it without any additional budget. And hopefully that would solve the problem. So those would be my recommendations to implement those 3 items. But before I put anything on the floor, I'd like to hear from others.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson?
Thank you. Similar comments to Councillor Gallo with respect to the always stop as well as the flexible sign. I know that there's been some positive comments elsewhere in town with regards to it. I guess my question through you to Mr. Ramuno. Mr. Ramuno, if we go to attachment 1, you've indicated placements for both the always stop as well as the traffic calming measures. Would it be necessary or your recommendation to put a traffic calming measure that close to Albury and the always stop, or would you be leaning more towards the 2 further points on the east and west of it?
Mr. Ramuno?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. No, Councilor Thompson, that's a good point. I mean, if you're going to install, both the always stop there, traffic calming measure, you wouldn't choose that location so close to the always stop. It would be, one of the other locations.
Councillor?
Thank you. And certainly in terms of a traffic calming measure, I'm much more supportive of the flexible signage rather than the speed pillows or cushions, whatever we're calling them.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Yeah, I think I agree with the comment that it's not just going to be just one thing. It's just as far as the stop signs alone that are going to solve the issue. But I think that from a council perspective, I think we've looked at many times where things have come before us, whether it's John Westway, as was mentioned just outside right here, or even Pedersen, if you remember, Councillor Thompson, back when we did the speed humps, those didn't meet the warrants. But we as a council decided to listen to the residents in the area, and the fact that we heard from them directly that there was issues in those areas and that we needed to do something. And sometimes, you know what, it's not going to 100% solve it, but I think that if it makes life a little bit better or a little bit safer in the area for our residents, I think it's our obligation to see how we can move forward and provide those safety measures for our residents in the area, because ultimately they're the ones living it every day and they're the ones seeing it. So just because it doesn't meet the warrants, it doesn't mean that it's not happening. And so I'm fine with moving forward with the stop signs. As well as the flexible bollards. I think that they're an added piece that would add an extra level of security and safety in the neighborhood from a speeding perspective. And Councillor Gallo, you mentioned it. We've seen them work in areas around the schools. So I think that it's a good measure. So I'm in favor of moving forward with that. So I'll wait to see if anyone brings forward an amendment. Councillor Gillan, second time.
Thank you. I'm really just, for me, I'm really curious as to since we're talking about obviously different measures and the residents, and I heard some comments from the residents here that they didn't like the flexible signs. And so I don't know if that reflects the majority of the residents on the street or how they feel about that. I know myself, when I was faced with this, when I used to live on Heathwood and I was looking for a stop sign, just like you, I did the exact same thing, came to council. I was directed at that time, and mind you, it was many moons ago, and I literally went with a piece of paper with photographs of several different types of traffic calming measures with a stop sign to allow everybody in the street the option of choosing like which kind of traffic calming or stop sign would you prefer. So there was consensus, because in my opinion, you get divided. There's some people, they prefer the speed humps. There's some people, they prefer the traffic bollards. Some people want 2 stop signs. And, for us to make a decision tonight and put a bunch of flexible signs and stop signs, some people saying, I never asked for that. And, if we're going to do something that the community is going to be really happy with, I would really prefer to see what the majority of that street would prefer. And I just don't know if we're hearing a fulsome story, because I just heard some conflicting comments there. So for me, I'm in favor of reducing the speed and trying to find the best solution for this street. But I'm hearing 2 stop signs with flex. I'm hearing a stop sign with flex. I'm hearing maybe 2 cushions with a stop sign. And I'm just really confused as to where we're going. Are we spitballing and just trying to figure this out? I don't know if this is something we refer back and we allow the residents to come to the conclusions where they feel it's the best combination is, if we're willing to work with them. But I just don't have a fulsome understanding of the best solution right now, based on the fact that we're straying from the report and we are really going to take in consideration to what the people on the street want. I don't want to start ticking people off because there's a bunch of bollards there they didn't ask for. So right now, I mean, I'm happy to listen to what anybody else has to say, but I almost would want to go back and kind of say like, okay, let's have a conversation and figure out what exactly is the type of traffic calming that would be the best if this one stop sign is not enough.
Councillor Gallo, second time.
I was going to put an amendment on the floor and a recommendation. I see Councillor Gardner wants to speak, but I'll just put it on the floor and then we can go from there.
Councillor Gallo, can you just maybe a little bit closer, because it's tough with the noise that's going on.
So basically, the stop sign to introduce the stop sign at Albury and Tamarac, and from the committee to add flexible signs, and I would leave it up to the discretion of staff. They would know best where to put them, whether it's 2 or 3 locations, as well as the urban shoulder. And again, leave it up to staff to determine what the best location would be for that. I think in terms of whether or not the community is on board or not, both of these things can be easily removed or added, and they're very inexpensive and effective. If we were going forward with the speed cushions and all that, then it's a different story, because I think, yeah, you might want to have a little more buy-in from the community, because you're not going to be taking those out anytime soon. These, if 3 locations are put in there and we only really need 2, and we determine that's okay, they're very easily removed. So and again, maybe it's a phase in. It's the first step, and see what the results are, and then we can go from there.
Shall I second that? So for the stop sign, for the flexible bollards and the urban shoulder. You want to second that? Yes? Okay. I got a second. Councilor Gallo, you're good?
Yep.
Okay. I'll get it on the screen, and then I'll ask for any comments or questions to the amendments. Councilor Gallo moved it. Councilor Gartner seconded it. Any comments or questions to the amendment? Councilor Gilliland.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Ramuno. I did read in the report that the staff didn't recommend the urban shoulder traffic measure because of the width of the street was so narrow. And I'm just really concerned that that could create maybe some complications driving around that street, especially when you're going around curves. And I just wanted to get a fulsome understanding as to staff's position on the urban shoulder, and whether or not that's something that would be considered a traffic calming measure that would work here.
Mr. Ramuno.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So yeah, the urban shoulder, just really implementing a wide line is really just, the concept is really to force drivers into a narrower space, and then, forcing them to slow down. It's really similar to I guess, the other features like a speed cushion or a flexible sign. So it is used in places. Again, staff didn't recommend the measures just because the warrants weren't met. The urban shoulder, though, is a different concept as well. But again, we'll take direction from council. As Council Gallo mentioned, the urban shoulder is really painting a white line. It's not very expensive, and it's something that could be eliminated down the road without excessive cost. Flexible signs are, there's a cost, initial cost to install them and remove them, twice a year. They are removed prior to winter. The always stop is, relatively straightforward and inexpensive.
Councilor.
Thank you. And considering that we're talking about these flexible signs, I have 2 questions. One, by investing in these and the removal, if we decide that this is something that doesn't work, how easy is this to be able to remove and implement something different?
Mr. Ramuno.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, specifically the flexible signs. I mean, we use them elsewhere in the municipalities, so they are seen as useful measures and on some streets, and they're pretty straightforward to install and remove. Again, there is a minor cost to install and remove those on a yearly basis, but we could. Council wishes, we could try that, and if we don't see a reduction in speeding, then we may have to consider something else.
Councilor.
Thank you, through Mr. Mayor, Mr. Ramuno. Winter maintenance, if you could just help me understand this, or to Ms. Steenkamp rather, how does this get managed in the winter time? Do they just simply get removed and we just don't even have them anymore? Is that how it works?
Steenkamp.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's correct. They get removed off of this pavement surface, and then it's just clear like a regular lane would be.
Councilor.
Thank you. And sorry, I do have one more question through Mr. Mayor, Mr. Ramuno. If there's these bollards along the entire perimeter of Tamarac, would it be even necessary to have a white line if it's already going to delineate through these bollards?
No.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, again, based on what I've heard, if council directs us to implement the flexible signs, I think Council Gallo mentioned that you'd leave it up to staff, and just looking at it, we would probably, introduce those where we had looked at introducing or investigated the speed cushion. So, yeah, I mean, I think, my suggestion is leave it up to staff. We would determine the most most appropriate places for the flexible signs. But if council also wishes to introduce the urban shoulder, again, that's really just painting a line down the road to narrow the drive aisle of Tamarac.
Councilor.
Thank you. Okay, I guess my only comments on this is, again, these bullards, I hear a lot of mixed emotions about these bullards in general. Sometimes people don't like them out in front of their house, how they back in and out of their house, where they're located. There's really no perfect science as to how you place these things. I heard some comments about in the wintertime, cars sliding and such going around with the speed as well. So if there's no bullards, then clearly that traffic measure has now been eliminated. Clearly the white line is not going to be something that's going to be also paid attention to in the winter when we have roads that are covered in snow. I'm just really worried that we're implementing something that may not be in the best interest of the community. Again, I'm in favor of traffic calming and making this safer. I just want to make sure we're doing it right the first time and just not throwing something out at it and hoping that it sticks. My preference, again, I feel that speed humps along what's been recommended is the best. If we are very adamant about the stop sign where it is being suggested in the report, my preference would be to have traffic calming humps on the other two ends of the street with the stop sign in the middle. And that way there's speed calming through the entire thing on a year-round aspect. That would be my preference.
Thank you, Councilor Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. I'm considering the 3 points. I definitely think, thank you, Councilor Gallo, that there should be a stop sign at Aubrey Crescent. Tamarac allows parking on both sides of the street. So Tamarac is not the traditional width of a street. It's narrower than most. I think I'm not going to say what it is, but I know it's narrower because I've spoken with staff about it. So I don't know how the lines, I can't see how all this is working, but I do think that something we should consider is the other stop sign by the park, because that is also a very speedy area and lots of kids there. I would like to go with 2 stop signs and just leave it at that for now and see what happens. I don't think we can, if we have parking on both sides of the street through Mr. Mayor to Mr. Ramuno, I don't think the white lines are going to help.
Mr. Ramuno.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's hard for me to say whether it's going to work or not. I mean, it is a recommendation from the advisory committee, because again, these are measures that have been used elsewhere. Whether it will work in this situation, I can't say for certain.
Councilor.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and I listened to the meeting, and it was a recommendation from one person. I don't remember other people commenting on it. I think that what I found from the committee was that they were very interested in finding a solution. They don't know that there's parking on both sides of Tamarac. They don't know that it's a narrower street than some. So even their best intention perhaps didn't have all of the information. I don't know if Ms. Teenkamp has a thought on this. To me, the most important part would be certainly the stop sign at the dangerous intersection, and I think a stop sign at the park. And I'd like to remind council, last term we put a stop sign on Gurnett that was very close to another stop sign, and so we just didn't pay attention to the rules. I think we need to pay attention to what would make the area safer. I'd like to hear what Councillor Gallo says about that.
Councillor Kent.
Thank you. just my general comments on traffic calming measures like speed humps and so forth. From my experience in
Councillor, to the amendment.
I'm in favor of number 2 and 3, but I'm not in favor of number 4. I think I think it's best to try a couple of measures first to see how that turns out before we put in the urban shoulder. I'm not sure how effective that would be based on the experience that I've had, but I am in favor of 2 and 3.
Thank you. Councillor Gallows.
Thank you. The structure of 2 and 3, although it doesn't say it, was to give staff a toolbox to be able to deal with this. If staff feels that number 4, the urban shoulder, isn't necessary after doing the other 2, so be it. That's not a problem. The point was to give them the leeway to determine the best way to deal with this within those parameters. And those are the three parameters that they would need to implement. They would need us to approve in order to implement them. If they choose not to do number 4, I have no issues with that. The point here is to solve this problem as best we can, and it may be a phased approach.
Okay. Any other comments or questions to the amendments? Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. Just picking up on Councillor Gallo's last comment, if the consideration is for a recommendation for the urban shoulder to be at staff's discretion, should they feel that all 3 measures are necessary rather than just the first 2, then perhaps we just change the wording a little bit from be implemented to be considered on Tamarac Trail and leave it with staff so that they have the authority, should they feel that it's necessary to achieve the improved safety of the overall area, rather than saying that it has to be implemented.
I'll leave that to the mover and the seconder. Are you fine with that?
That was the intent, the original intent.
So to be considered by staff on evaluation of the other 2 implementations. Okay. Councillor Gardner, you're okay with that? You second it? Okay. Did you get that, Mr. Clerk?
Just put it up. Make sure I got
that if staff feels necessary, urban shoulder traffic calming measure and center lines be implemented on Tamarac. Is that good? Councillor Gardner, Councillor Gallo, is that good? Yeah, Councillor Gardner, so you're good? Okay. All right. Councillor Gilliland, second time to the amendment.
Thank you. Obviously, I'm hearing around the table that we want to implement something other than nothing. And, I can see that there's some things being recommended here. I'm just going to choose wisely. And if we are starting a starting point based on this report and the residents and whatnot, for me, I'll be in favor of number 2, but I'm not in favor of these flexible signs. I think it's a little bit premature. Like Councillor Gardner said, there's parking on the street. This is not a year-round measure. I think some more research needs to be done, and if we are going to start with something, then I would prefer to start with the all-way stop where it's been recommended by staff, and then should there be additional traffic calming measures, then we can look at that. But right at this point, I am not in favor of 3 and 4. I think it's actually going to cause maybe perhaps some other issues in the community that they're not really going to like, and they're not going to be too happy with that.
Any other comments, questions to the amendments? Mr. Romano, just quickly, if we did install the flexible bollards, as you mentioned, we use them in other areas. Is it possible if something did come up or arise that there's concerns within the area and we needed to remove them, could they be utilized in another area? Could they be reused, essentially?
Yeah, yes, to you, Mr. Mayor, yes.
Okay. So essentially they don't go to waste. So, all right, thank you. So what I'm hearing is we'll call 2 and then 3 and 4 separate. Like 2 separate from 3 and 4. 3 and 4 together and 2 separate? Or Councillor Gardner, you want all 3 separate? You want all 3 separate? Yeah, I know, but I got another counselor that is okay with just two and not okay with 3 and 4. So we're gonna do all three separate. All right, all three separate. So let's start with number 2. Yeah, I know. Okay, number 2, call vote. Counselor Gardner. Yes. Counselor Kim. Yes. That carries. Number 3. Call vote. Counselor Gardner. Yes. Counselor Kim. Yes. That carries. Number 4. Call the vote. Hey, Counselor Gardner's a yes. Counselor Kim. Counselor Kim's a no. That carries. Back to the main motion as amended. Counselor Gardner, you did have your hand. Oh, Counselor Gallo, you had the floor. You're good? Thank you. Counselor Gardner, did you want to speak? You're done? Call a vote. Pardon? You want me to separate them again? Separate them again? Separate them again. We can do receive and we can do 1 and 2. We can do 1 and 2 together. Okay, it's 1 and 2. I'll call the vote. Counselor Gardner? Yes. Counselor Gardner's a yes. Counselor Kim? Counselor Kim's a yes. That carries. We'll go to number 3. So number 3, I'll call the vote. Counselor Gardner? We already voted on it, but we got to vote again. Counselor Gardner's a yes. Counselor Gardner's a yes. Counselor Kim? You're a no? Counselor Kim's a no. That carries. Number 4. I hope you guys aren't getting confused which one you guys are voting for. Number 4. I'll call the vote. Counselor Gardner. Counselor Gardner, yes. Counselor Kim. Counselor Kim's a yes this time. That carries. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for coming out. You got your stop sign. Huh? And more, yes. Council 8, we'll move to 8.8.3. This is the endorsement of the York Region modifications to the town's updated official plan. Councilor Gilliland, you pulled this one. Did you want to move the recommendation? Someone else? Councilor Thompson, seconder. Seconder. Councilor Kim, thank you. Councilor Gilliland, you have the floor. Just a vote? Just a vote? Okay. Any comments or questions? Okay. Call a vote. Councilor Garner? Councilor Garner's a yes. Councilor Kim? Councilor Kim's a yes. That carries. Okay, we'll move to 9.1. This is a memo from the mayor's office regarding the JCC appointment to appoint Councilor Thompson to the JCC. Someone like to move that? Councilor Gilliland, thank you. Seconder, Councilor Kim. Any comments or questions on this? Seeing none, I'll call a vote. Councilor Kim? Councilor Kim's a yes. That carries. New business. Councilor Gilliland? Okay. Councilor Thompson? Councilor Gallo? Councilor Kim? No, that's fine. Bylaws. Who wants to move the bylaws? Councilor Gilliland, seconder. Councilor Kim, Councilor Gallo, you got something? Yes, go ahead.
Just a question on, sorry, let me pick where is it? The last one, 11.4,
Okay.
through you to Mr. Moon, I guess, just to 11.4, the assuming the highway, just a description of what is happening there.
Mr. Romano, 11.4.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, that's just assuming the maintenance period is over, assuming the public road, the road is a public highway, and moving forward, we will now be maintaining it as in the past it was a developer. So yeah, the maintenance period is up, so it's final action.
Mr. Romano, can you just say which road that is, just so?
Yeah, so it's Forest Road. It was one of the Matamis phases, their last phase, west side of Leslie Street, north of St. John's.
Okay. Councilor Gallo?
Is that the one that the sprinkler systems were installed? Is that the subdivision there? No.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
That was it.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions on the bylaws? All right, I'll call the vote. Councilor Gardner. Oh, Councilor Gilliland too. Councilor Gilliland. Oh, Councilor Gardner. Councilor Gardner's a yes. Councilor Kim. Councilor Kim's a yes. I hit the wrong button. We did? All right. Calling the vote again, guys. Got to redo it. Councilor Gilliland, it's not coming up. You a yes? Councilor Gilliland's a yes. Councilor Gardner, you were a yes last time. I'm assuming you're a yes again. Yes. Councilor Kim. Yes. That carries. Confirming bylaw. Who wants to move that? Councilor Gallo, Councilor Thompson, all those in favor? Opposed, that carries. And motion to adjourn. You can just go talk to staff at the end. You can save it for next week. Is it? Yeah, we got a meeting next week. Okay. Motion to adjourn. Counselor Thompson. Counselor Kim, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. So we are adjourned.